It's a good way to begin it.
No, that is actually an excellent way to begin it. So
that is actually my favorite bottle of vodka, just for the shape of the bottle.
It's pretty.
Yeah, here, send it over here. Let's show it to maybe someday wait, I forget it. Opulent.
Yeah, maybe
Opulent vodka will give us a sponsor.
Yes, please give us money in vodka.
Bill discovered this vodka not long ago in Total Wine.
Glass bricks on the back.
I know this.
Love it.
When you're chugging it straight out of the bottle, like these really help you just. Also, when the bottles are empty, I save them in case we get a Home Alone situation. We gotta whack.
Opulent,
someone.
If you ever make a whiskey, I hope you call it Audacity.
I want a bottle of How Dare You whiskey. That's
going to be the gin.
Oh, yeah, How Dare You gin.
How dare you.
Did I ever tell... well, let's introduce everybody first. This is B, who I met today, but took pictures of Sam Dunn, who I met 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
It's been a while.
Dressed up in laser masks, being our EDM group Ghosteater, which will come out in October. We're going to try to have a show.
Hopefully, if the world is...
Yeah.
Okay.
If
the world exists.
Yeah, we're kind of gambling on, like... Look, my dad's been vaccinated. Alexis has been vaccinated. She's sleeping. Her dad was vaccinated. We're getting to where people in our actual lives are like, okay, parents aren't going to die. All right, pretty sure I won't either. I'm going to get it too when it happens. But I'm
getting my shot in the next week.
Are you really?
Are you ready?
How was that? Are you 65? Because you look great.
No, I'm an essential worker, so I'm next on the...
Oh, cool. Yeah, okay.
I work at a grocery store, so...
Nice.
I'm next on the docket.
Congrats, man.
Nothing I do is important. I'll be the last. Like, literally, my vaccine will be the fact that every other human on Earth will get it before me, and then I won't need to, because it'll be like, well, I guess that's everybody.
Yeah.
Fuck, it's like, John Wheeler's 40, but also, like, not important, so fuck him.
That's where I am on the list, too.
Same.
I am
way down
perpetually unemployed, but in, like, a bougie way.
Right, yeah. I just work at...
not a lot of my income is on paper. I can't believe I have a mortgage in a house right now. It doesn't make sense, to be honest.
You still gotta get it, though.
The IRS doesn't watch.
You gotta watch out for those
podcasts, do they?
They're way too understaffed for that.
Oh, yeah. Thank God for incompetence. That's probably the only reason none of us are in jail.
It's true.
Like, if the cops did their job, I'd be in trouble. But they don't, so I'm fine.
No.
But yeah, Sam and I used to work at a place called The Garage together. Sam used to run a company called Global Takedown until there was some unpleasantness. And I occasionally freelanced for them in my early days of video production stuff.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
You already know who I am, and this, as usual, is Bill, who made us corned beef, but not corned beef hash.
Nope, just corned beef.
Actual corned beef.
Corned beef hash is corned beef, but burned into hash browns.
Is that really what that is? Is that real thing?
That's all it is. It's potatoes and peppers cooked into it, and onions, so that it becomes like hash, like hash browns.
And here we thought it was illegal.
It's corned beef hashish. Dude, Alexis bought a hookah a little while ago because it's fun to smoke out of a hookah sometimes.
Yeah,
although it is not. I learned, I was on tour in Florida, I smoked weed out of a hookah once, and I threw up
Miserable.
a lot. I threw up not a little, I threw up a lot. That was horrible. And I'm someone who, drugs and me are, we all right, but like that went wrong. That was gross and a terrible idea.
Man.
So we just smoked whatever that kind of tobacco shisha is. But I was reading a thing about it, and I thought it was just a funny aside. It was like, most people smoke shisha, some people use it to smoke marijuana, and back in the olden days, they said very specifically, some people used to smoke opium. And I'm like, I would love to still do that if anyone has a brick of opium they're willing to sell me. But yeah, like I don't know. In the olden days, does no one use a hookah to smoke opium anymore? Maybe it's too ineffective.
I don't know,
Maybe it's all fentanyl these days and no one has any fun anymore.
They used to soak tampons in opium back in the day. And so you could stick opium in your vagina.
That's like advanced
makes me wish two things: that I had a vagina and opium was legal.
Yeah. I don't know, John.
And those two wishes are very connected.
We could probably make it work.
Oh yeah, well, that's a
that makes
painkiller.
sense.
So it's
That
like,
makes
why waste all that time in your stomach or bloodstream when you could go right to the source? It's its own separate biome. So yeah, maybe. Old timey doctoring is the scariest fucking thing in the world.
There's ghosts in your blood. Do cocaine.
Do cocaine about it. Yeah, just drunk as hell. That's one of my favorite. That's the one of the McElroys and his wife have a thing called Sawbones, and that's where that came from, which is a podcast I really like, where they just talk about quacky old medical things. And that was just like we all know that meme, and it's very funny. And the best thing about it was just an off the cuff thing somebody said.
Right.
So I got mad respect for like, oh, being an old-timey doctor? That'd be great. Just drunk as hell, being like, you got ghost in your blood. Better do cocaine about it. It's just something that him and his wife are yelling about, and then it became an immortal meme for all of history.
Life truly imitates art.
It does, and I love a lot when it does that.
You know why the barber stripe has the red stripe on it, right?
Blood.
Yeah, they used to do bloodletting.
Yeah. That's all they used to know how to do.
Yeah.
But also...
Get a haircut, and they're going to get rid of some of your bad blood.
Yeah, get that blood out of there.
Yeah, it's only causing you more. It's full of ghosts. Yeah,
full of ghosts.
But the funny part of that is not only they used to do bloodletting, but also that the barber used to be the one in charge of that.
Right. Well, he had the
I'll
tools.
give you a nice close shave, put some leeches on your crotch, and you're fucking healthy as a horse now.
I mean, he's got the sharpest tools.
He was. They also used to be the dentist in the olden times. The barber was also the dentist.
They handled everything on your skull
and the surgeon sometimes because he had the stuff already. And it was
teeth, throat, and blood.
Yeah. Ear, nose, teeth, throat, hair, skull, face, and blood.
Yeah, right. Yeah, whatever you need done. And you can imagine the old Wild West. And you get hurt in the old Wild West. It's
a real laser line specialist.
Yeah. I mean, back then you were kind of likely to die if you got a broken leg if you got out in the open west because
100%.
It's likely to just ruin your whole life and it's never going to heal properly and you're going to die of an infection.
Well, it's the thing. Like, the life expectancy is like 49 anyway. Yeah. It's like the only way to live is doing just like horrific amounts of labor and stuff. It's like, oh, you can't walk, huh? Well, plenty more people where that came from.
Right. Good luck.
The shotgun school of doctoring was not restricted just to horses in those days. It's like, oh, you can't work. Well,
what?
We'll just blow your brains out and throw you down this mine shaft.
Enjoy your retirement.
In hell, you motherfucker. So here, this is an experimental episode of this podcast, by the way. So I am now able to play clips and things. And so I figured it would be a good time to I didn't really think of anything funny because it's sort of going to be the St. Patrick's Day episode, but St. Patrick's Day is stupid. And, I don't want to be like, oh, hey, look, we have a bunch of St. Patrick's Day fails. It's just making fun of good-hearted drunk people that, fall through glass coffee tables. And but for the grace of God, go we. So we should cast no stones. So I figured what we would do is focus just a teeny bit more on Sam and I's long-in-the-making wacky EDM project.
Yeah.
Ghosteater.
It's a little weird, but it'll be fun.
It's going to be more than a little weird. That's the fun part. The entertaining thing about the EDM world is that, you're not burdened with as much, crew and equipment and stuff as perhaps a rock and roll show. So you really have a lot of ledger space to kind of fill in the blanks however you please. Indeed. And we have filled it in with terrifying nonsense. But there are actually a couple of sort of beta-tested Ghosteater things that you've produced, and I made a little bit of video content for. And all I really wanted to do was show off the fact that we could actually play clips on this podcast now that we've totally rearranged everything. And let's just see if this doesn't ruin everything completely. And this is a little tiny. It's 30 seconds. Yeah. But could you talk a little bit about Searle?
Yeah. So Searle's actually I consider him a friend. I booked him actually a long time ago. I think in 2013 or 12 at the Skyway Theater.
I was there.
It was a good time. It was a good time. I lived my life in utter chaos from 2000, let's say 11 to 13, 14. So one of those chaotic nights was Searle, and he is pretty He's like a...
He's a happy hardcore guy.
Yeah, happy hardcore guy. But one thing that's
which was one of the first things I got exposed to. Like Meredith, who is part of this podcast and channel, she's down in Iowa right now with family, but she actually showed me something that Searle had. Like Happy Hardcore was my first experience with like weird techno in like '98. Yeah, it was just something like a really long time. I don't remember when we first hanging out, maybe 2000. But like I was just like, oh, this is weird. This isn't on late night MTV. This is like actually like
what is this?
Aggressive programming and synthesizer stuff.
Yeah, and one thing that's unique about Searle too is he puts all of his stems of all of his music just on his website, so you can. If you hear a Searle song you like and you are a producer and you want to go remix it, you can just go to like Searle. I think it's just Searle.com and just download all the project files. And I have a bunch. I downloaded a bunch of his stuff, and one of them was Basslut, which is one of my favorite songs. And Ghosteater is really a project that emphasizes on bass music. Our whole aesthetic musically is very pretty.
Was that what you would really just like broad stroke, like for a fan that's like, what is it that you guys are doing? Because I've been in bands forever, as probably music. Anybody who's watching this even at all knows.
The best way to emphasize it is it's bass music. It is music specifically to emphasize the lower frequencies of the bass spectrum, and bass music has kind of morphed into like experimental with sound design, and a lot of it is actually making about the most extreme, genuinely awful fucking sounds that you can make, horrible things, and then making really cool songs out of it. And so it's basically just exploring extremes, so we have really pretty highs and really pretty lows, and then we have really
stanky, dirty lows.
Yeah, and then we have really extreme bass, and this song kind of encapsulates a lot of that.
Yeah, and this is a remix of a Searle song that Sam did, and I made a little visual. My contribution to it was very thin surface layer of like, oh, here's some weird light up shit to go along with all of the
it worked pretty
good hard work that Sam did.
I mean, all the extreme stuff is always in the basement, so...
Well, that's where we are.
Yeah. There we go.
The extreme Rum Dumpster. All right, so this is the very first clip on the Rum Dumpster podcast getting done this way. I hope it's great.
Basslut. No, Bulldog, well, this is my opinion of it.
Basslut.
I didn't know you would pick this part.
I wanted it to look like a speaker tone.
Basslut. Big fat hard kick.
I like the ending so much.
It makes me think of the...
Hey, we're back. Look at that.
The DMT spider universe that some people go to.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, when you are like in a spider's web on DMT, walking into the light, but there's like a god spider being like that.
Or
DMT
also,
universe.
I hope that
Tool comes to mind. Tool's, visual with the god-like face thing. No.
I know. All the Adam who's the guy that does their artwork? It's like one guy that does all that eyeball golden fire.
It's Tool.
It's somebody's name though.
It's Tool.
It's Tool. Yeah, but there's an artist who's a very much alive old dude that make all of that visual stuff you've seen from them is the work.
Find it.
Damn it! What the hell? Why don't you just look it up?
What are we looking up again?
Tool's visual artist.
Yeah.
Tool's visual artist.
One of the favorite things that I've seen in quite some time is just kind of one of those categories where they throw everything up and they're like, is this Tool album art or cough medicine cover?
No one knows.
Yeah, it's always glowing.
I am connected to your Wi-Fi. Foolish me.
Oh yeah. Don't say it on here, because if anyone ever finds my address, they can drive by my house.
They're gonna steal your internet.
They can look at Facebook on my dime. We're not letting that happen.
I remember it, I believe. Yeah, right.
Yeah, well, I remember it, which is difficult for me.
You want this
I can type it in if you need me.
It can be on the table because it's kind of like, ooh, check it out. There we go. Yeah. I like how I still have David Murder, who will be a guest on here. His cat, because I bought this laptop from him. I'm allergic to cats and I don't own them, but I have a kitty cat on my laptop, and I just left it there because I'm like, well, now everyone will know it's mine.
Yeah.
So that's convenient.
So now I like it.
If you do ever want a new custom sticker or whatever, that's my jam.
You have that vinyl thing you were talking about. Hey, can you tell everybody a little bit about what that is? Because I wasn't aware. I had mistaken it for
Not
like
an embroidery machine.
Embroidery printer thing? Yeah. I got it fucked up.
Yeah, no, I'm just working with the Cricut. I got the nicest one that they make, I think, right now, which is the Maker. It's super user-friendly. The software is super easy. I adore it. You can make everything from wifey bullshit,
live, laugh, love stuff
to
wifey bull. That's a good explanation of what that is.
To some really cool random custom designs. But yeah, no, if you don't want the cat or if you want a different thing, like let me know.
Yeah, a different custom thing. Because I mean, this laptop will go down with this ship. It has served me well. I'll probably never sell it to anybody. I'll probably just leave it as an auxiliary thing to run some bullshit like this or whatever. Right. But when I get a new one, and I need to, because I literally have started to become someone who not only needs a newer computer, but needs multiple computers, because, some stuff that I will render will take hours, and I'm like, I wish I could get something else done. Bill was helping me work on something while I was letting something render. It's like, well, what do we do while this does this? Like, drink, I guess, because, we can't do anything for 3 hours, because my one most powerful computer's got its hands full and whatever like that. Have you found tools artists?
I have. It took me a lot longer than I thought, but apparently much of the credit goes to the group's guitarist, actually, Adam Jones.
But he's not the one that he made Jurassic Park. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that. That's
before
nuts. Really?
When Tool probably was active, but pre-famous Tool, he was animation.
Jeff made Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Goldblum?
Yeah. Daddy Goldblum.
Daddy Goldblum made Jurassic Park for me, and apparently also you. Old Beefcake Jeff really brought it home. By the way, did you watch his Disney Plus thing?
The World of
Learning with or whatever.
It is charming and beautiful, and he just goes around and he's just like,
oh, and he's so excited.
I want to know how your toaster factory works, and I love it so much. I just want to give you a hug. And I'm like, I wish there was 80 seasons of that for me to just why there's one. But technically, it's on Disney Plus, but I think it's a Nat Geo thing, which is on Disney Plus or whatever.
It is, yeah.
But yeah, watching him go around and learn about like people who collect Nikes.
The shoe episode.
I saw, yeah.
That was a good one.
Episode was
he was amazed that entire time. He just couldn't believe it. Yeah. Everything, he was like, I cannot believe this.
The barbecue episode when they're doing the insect barbecue stuff and the lady references the Jurassic Park thing. He's like, you referenced something my work. He's just kind of super geeked out about her referencing his work.
Well, it makes you feel good.
It does, yeah. I love Jeff Goldblum. If you're listening, I think you're
Jeff Goldblum is for sure one of the 171 people subscribed to this bullshit YouTube channel.
You never know.
Absolutely, he's like, I just want to see what John Wheeler and Sam Dunn are up to. I was a big fan of the Garage, big fan. And
I came to a couple shows.
I really want to know how that worked out.
Back in the day.
Oh yeah.
He was at your album release party.
He is phenomenal at Twitter stuff though. So if you tag him.
Yeah, there you go.
On Twitter, you never know.
What's the thing? Like we were saying earlier, I'll cut this into a chunk where we're mostly talking about our love, undying and non-ironic for Jeff Goldblum, and put it on Twitter. He might be like, thumbs up, 100%. I love this. Thank you. And we'll be like, look we got endorsed by Jeff Goldblum.
There we go.
We'll get 5 more subscribers.
At least. Great. Oh man. Then you can really afford that new laptop, probably.
Yeah. Subscribers translate directly into dollars the same way that our EDM group. So, to point out that Sam and B are our inaugural actual guests.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So I've not really done an interview thing because we started this during COVID because I couldn't do bands or stand up anymore, and we're like, well, let's waste everyone's time on the internet. And Bill, Meredith, Alexis, and I were the only people that the 4 of us hung around with, so we probably weren't going to make each other sick aside from to our stomachs, and we figured we're pretty safe. But we never really had. But we're kind of coming out the other side of it a little bit like that. And I so I would like to. I will start with saying, because I want to make sure that everybody's has a little bit of a deep dive before whatever they want to say on this ridiculous thing. And we have an hour to kill or 40 minutes left.
Yeah, cool.
But Sam and I's main thing is doing this EDM thing. called Ghosteater, and we have. By the way, Sam's actually not drinking booze.
Yeah, it's just water. Yeah, I'm on a diet. I'm on the South Beach diet.
It would have been. And actually, we should talk a little bit about how has the South Beach diet been going for you, because I am someone who's like, if I eat how some of my skinny friends eat. What's happening?
I just don't want to reach all the way across.
Oh, you can yell about it or reach or whatever.
Very informal.
Like that's at least 45 more seconds of content that could turn to an amazing clip on TikTok.
Yeah.
If vodka comes out of your nose or something. So there's no real
point of the show is raising your voice.
Please. Meredith once said, and I brilliantly but ironically, it's like, this show can we please have a topic or it's going to devolve into shouting? And I'm like, but I love shouting.
Maybe,
and it was a very
maybe the internet needs just a little bit more.
Yeah, and it's all shouting, but so please, if you have an opinion or whatever, we're not trying to like quickly and quietly get through this to the end. It's definitely like, give me the vodka, you fuck. Like that's what this is about. But a bit of a meta thing is that Sam's on the South Beach diet, and I'm someone who, if I ate the way a lot of my skinny friends eat, I'd be fatter than Ralphie May, and now that I'm 40, probably dead. And they're like, well, yeah, bro, you just walk every once in a while. I'm like, everyone's metabolism is different.
I eat absolute garbage, and I never ever go over 130 pounds.
Yeah, and I have had. Actually, not just lady friends, but dudes. My friend Figgles is someone who struggles to keep his weight up. So like everyone is very, and Figgles is the keyboard player for Gabriel and the Apocalypse, who are a rock and roll band from Minneapolis, who I often have produced a lot of their albums and content and stuff, and they so I'm abreast of their nonsense on the road and stuff. And Figgles, they had to make a deal with him to force him to eat. Like, he was one of those guys that would just eat candy and nothing and weighed like 70, like scared. Like, Figgles, right. You're gonna die. You're gonna like implode. Like, you need to eat food. So they made him eat one rotisserie chicken every other day. So he had to, it was a rule in the band bus. It's like, Figgles, did you eat your chicken today? It's Tuesday. You didn't have one on Monday. Like, fucking eat a chicken. So just like an entire. He's like, watch him sit there just powering his way through this thing. Just be like, dude, your ribs are scaring me and whatever. So like, I'm a big understander, I guess. A big understander? Yeah, why not? That's a good one. Of that everybody is different. Like, because I get, I used to get a little bit bitchy when people be like, I'm having trouble gaining weight. And I'm like, well, why don't you just inject some of my DNA into your body? Then all you got to do is diet and exercise and you'll be super fat for no reason. Like, and I'm like, no. Everybody's different. But since, Bill and Alexis and I were making this podcast and stuff from the very beginning, we would like look back and be like, ooh. Hey, we might want to start intermittent fasting or something like that, or like whatever. Nah, it's been going really good. Like, we're cutting down on sugar. Everyone's looking a little bit. Bill looks good.
There's people online who have like they've questioned like just a large populace, like, how do I gain weight? And I'm like, well, have you tried eating a large pizza and taking a nap? Because that always works for me.
Yeah.
Oh, and I've known some people that does not work for them, where they'll be like, dude, I'm like fucking, my doctor's like, you're too skinny. Like, what? You're gonna vanish.
No, see, I eat a large pizza, take a nap, and then just take a giant dump the next day, and that's the end of the conversation. That's all that happens.
That pizza just goes completely through you without leaving any kind of marker evidence. It's like, nope. Yeah. We're back to the sewer where I came from.
You got that panda bear digestive tract. Yeah. Just straight through.
Yeah.
Wait, is that how pandas work?
Yeah.
I don't know shit about panda bears, Bill.
Because,
funny you say shit, because pandas produce a lot of shit all day. All they do is eat and shit. That is the vast majority of their day, because their digestive tract is straight. They do not eat.
It's not that like 60 miles or whatever the fuck, or 6 miles or
They also like food that doesn't digest well. That's like their favorite thing.
I imagine if I tried to eat bamboo, it wouldn't put a ton of weight on me. It'd be like, slice up my fucking intestines.
They only eat bamboo, and it doesn't digest well with them, so their shit comes out barely digested.
Basically like bamboo.
Barely.
Their shit smells like lemongrass.
No shit. I did not know that.
Very much shit.
So very much. Well, you learn something new every day.
Well, I know a lot.
And here, I thought I was pretty educated on pandas, because
Well, Bill.
I thought you said here I thought I was pretty educated on poop. But pandas too.
Poop. I guess I've been pooping for 30 years.
Yeah, I mean nothing. Sometimes they ask for a degree, but experience is really where the money's at.
Right. I'd say I'm pretty good at it.
What, pooping?
Yeah, pooping.
Yeah. So tell us about the South Beach diet a little bit.
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, it came from my mom, actually, of course, because she's actually just, she's like a really logical, reasonable person, and she's like a lawyer.
No wonder we're friends.
Yeah, and she's a lawyer too, so she's got a lot of similar aspects.
That's right, I forgot about that.
And
I've never met your mom.
Yeah,
I met your dad more than once, actually.
Yeah, I think they've been at the garage before too. But anyways, they I got fat on COVID because I stopped working out. Basically.
I got fat on COVID, I caught COVID. Put 50 pounds on me. But
during COVID, just my habits.
Part of the morbidity of COVID is extreme weight gain.
And I didn't really take it seriously until I kind of ballooned up. And I was like, man, and I was talking to my mom about it, and she recently went on it, and just because the South Beach diet, because one of her friends recommended it, because it's science-based.
I mean, your mom is quite slender regardless.
Right, it's true. She's always been taking care of her body.
She's in fighting shape.
Yeah, she's always been taking care of her body. And, she was just having a candid conversation with me, essentially. But because I rant about science a lot, if you let me.
Yeah, and, another reason.
I think I was ranting about black holes or something. And
she was like, "You're a black hole of food, Sam."
Yeah, not exactly, but she was saying, "Look, there's the South Beach diet that is written by a doctor that actually has a lot of science in it, and it actually kind of explains how your body digests food, which I didn't know. I guess whole wheat is bullshit. Whole grain is what you need. If you eat whole wheat, it's just as shitty as white bread. It's just as void of nutrients. Fuck whole wheat bread." I'm sorry, it's bullshit. But so I didn't know that, and so that's one thing I learned. But it's very, his whole goal, the doctor, I think his name's like Arthur. His whole goal is. Is
he the inventor of the South Beach diet?
Yeah, because he was a doctor and he was getting pissed because the Heart Association recommended a bunch of bullshit that made their patients worse.
There is a lot of controversy when it's someone, because I'm gonna make this as vague as possible just to get through this, but people will be like, I went to the doctor and said my knees hurt and then he said lose some weight, and it had nothing to do with that. Right. There's some real weird antagonism with the medical field, and it's dude, but you can't be, being massively overweight is really bad for you.
It's really bad for you, and that was one thing that
fucks your shit up in a lot of
he was trying to avoid, but his diets weren't working because he was just recommending them from the Heart Association, and he was getting pissed. And he would know, right? Because they're his patients. So he was actually trying to make their heart health better. And their heart health was suffering because their diet was suffering. So he was specifically trying to make their heart health better. And he was failing because the Heart Association didn't fucking know what it was doing. Recommended a bunch of bullshit. And so he developed his own. So it's simple. It's meant to be life-lasting, so it's meant to just promote good, healthy eating habits.
Yes.
2 weeks is strict, where I can't eat sugar and carbs. I'm on week 1, so I'm pretty new on them. But
also, I found you cauliflower pasta, by the way, so that we can get if we want to get back to pasta. They can make cauliflower in
anything.
I'm down. Oh my god, the best thing I've ever cauliflower tater tots are the best thing in the world.
You are correct. What? Also, they use cauliflower in place of chicken. You can get have cauliflower hot wings.
See,
boneless. No, there's cauliflower breaded chicken strips at where I work, and it's delicious.
I need that. So that's what I mean. Now I don't think I'm ever going to be able to go back. And I really didn't drink anyways.
No, you weren't huge on it. I basically would force you to have a cocktail it was 1961 when you Sam, what do you have?
I'm going to try to get him to enjoy wine because it's not something that I necessarily drink, but
you can have a bit of sugar though.
Well,
wine.
But only the first couple weeks he has to have no sugar.
Right.
Yeah.
So he will be able to get, and it's mostly red wines, which are also great for
red wines
your
actually
digestive and
it's
your
actually
heart.
They're full of resveratrol, or whatever. It's a there's a component in red wine that's been isolated as far as what it is, like when there's like groups of people in like Greece or Italy or whatever, and they're like, hey, there's like strange veins of longevity in these groups of people or whatever, and they're like, it's specifically this part of the red wine, but it's also found in like beans and things. It's like a cumulative effect of what people are eating in certain the weird blue zones where people just kind of like casually live to 115 and they're not in a nursing home. They're like, oh yeah, I'm 190.
Yeah, they just go to sleep one day and don't wake up.
Yeah, they die the way that we all hope to. Or we're just kind of like, watch HBO tomorrow, and then you're just done. And you're like, oh, all right, fine, cool. Like, but the whole red wine thing, it seemed like a little pinch of modern quackery, but it kind of turns out that there are elements to it that are, I think, pretty highly good for your heart health in general or whatever, which is pretty pinned to like Alexis works in the I don't know if we've ever really I mean, the viewers probably know if there are any.
Hospital. I know she does gross shit all the time.
She does gross shit and loves it. She does a job that even if I was qualified to do, I couldn't handle because she could like scoop pus out of an elderly person's chest and then just like eat oatmeal like 5 minutes later. I was like, oh yeah, I don't give a fuck. Like she just
I wash my hands.
I made a joke about it once where I was like. Back when stand-up comedy was open, and Bill would always be there too. But I would be talking about her job a little bit, and I'm like, there's a good chance if she's not willing to scoop pus out of an elderly person's chest cavity, she's not going to do that thing in bed you like. And it turns out, since I'm elderly, it's the same thing. But yeah, she's a EP tech, which means when they're replacing pacemaker batteries, putting in stents, like just doing all that hard stuff. She's one of the people that deal with the technological portion of that. Like there's doctors and nurses, and then there's what she does, which is like who runs all those machines? That's her. That is her job there. So like
she's watching the monitors.
And her dad, Rui, he is a nurse he's in I think the more emergency. I might be butchering this. I'm sorry, but he's in the more the emergency part where like they do stuff where it's like not elective, but it's like, hey, you need to get your pacemaker like fucked with or whatever, and be like, okay, and then they get scheduled. And it's like her dad's a nurse where it's like, guys, pacemaker's broken, fuck, and like they bring him in, they gotta like emergency do all this. His job's a little bit more like
his job is when something is going wrong already, and her job is more to keep something from not going wrong.
It's a similar department, but her job is when they walk in, his job is when they get wheeled in.
There you go. That's a good way to put it. Very simple.
And you'd rather be walking in than getting wheeled in with which is a thing. A friend of ours who I'll skip name, but his father was in good health his whole life, just very recently, and he's like in his mid-70s. Is like, I gotta get like a stent put in, and was kind of over here and asked like, hey, like, is this real serious? And she's like, we do this every day. Like this is fine. The thing that he's getting done, because and he was like kind of an old school guy. It's like, I don't want to have to be on medicine. I don't want to be an invalid for the rest of my life. But they're like, dude, you realize like when you have a bit of a heart thing, you weren't operating at full power for the last 10, 20 years. Yeah. And then when you get it was like when Bernie had like a valve opened up. It's like, he's like, well, I'm back in the game, baby. It's like you're like, you feel a million times better, and you're just like, no, dude, you have a new lease on those like next 20 years of your old guy life.
You'll feel
you're going to be in like good shape and not fucked. But anyway, it's just because you brought the South Beach thing with the heart doctor thing. That's very near and dear to like wife and in-laws family are all like heart people and stuff like that. So it's like that. I'm very exposed to talk about all that kind of stuff.
And that's really kind of what gravitated me towards it. Credit to my mom for really appealing to my logic. That's kind of
for understanding you and knowing what you would need if you wanted to die.
Exactly. Which was great, and because it is just very simple, lays out the logic behind it, and then it goes into. And I read the important half that like tells you what to do. The part I'm at now, it's all like recipes and stuff that I don't really understand because I don't know what a lot of that food is. But I got to.
Well, we're gonna help you out though.
Yeah, we'll get there.
I'm also a big cooking person.
Yeah, we're gonna make Sam's life more better, full of food.
We should talk about whether on the podcast or off. We should talk more about getting him the Instant Pot situation.
Oh, let's talk about it on, because the Instant Pot is the there's fucking like electricity,
and then there's the
cars. Instapot, and that's the other two are silver and bronze. Fuck it. The Instapot is the greatest invention that
It's a slow cooker on speed.
That's what we cook. That's what we cook the corned beef in, right? That's what you cook.
Yeah.
And you can throw fucking everything in it.
Yeah.
You can make almost
See, that's what
anything.
I need. That's what I need.
And you are not like you only like your meals to be like 1 if 2 steps anyways.
Yeah,
and that's
true.
what
That's
you
true.
have way more options if you use the Instant Pot with a 1 or 2 step meal than you do with just using your oven.
Yeah, that's true. Because I mean, literally,
And your steps are literally closer to 1 than 2.
Yeah,
it basically is nothing.
I just
season it and chuck it in there.
Just had, that would have taken 10 hours.
Wow, really?
It was good.
We had it
getting the cabbage boiled down and so soft like that, and getting the corned beef to have that little bit of a pull apart feel.
The cabbage, it pressurized and cooked for 3 minutes. That's it.
That's nuts. I never. Yeah, that's great. You know, and that's what I need.
When you can eat eggs and stuff on that day, right? Because this thing, the way that it does hard-boiled eggs, it's like you put eggs and water in it, and it's I think it's like 3 minutes of pressure, then you let it. Well, that's the specifics of it, and we can go over that later. But they'll come out exactly right, and they'll peel like nothing. Like it just makes hard-boiled eggs like I just threw 24 of them in there, and now I just have
I don't know
these.
that you're a hard-boiled egg person.
I just always fry them.
You like fried eggs,
I do too. And that's mostly because
I like hard-boiled eggs, and you can basically just like swallow them like a lizard and be done.
Yes, you're like an egg eating lizard. No, I just put like a little bit of salt on it because I'll occasionally go so deep into the keto thing that I need salt. Like if you have too little, your blood pressure will go up, and my temper will get out of control, and my heart will explode.
I put red pepper on mine and then literally just shove them.
I was like,
Sriracha and German mustard were my favorite things to put on hard-boiled eggs.
Really? I've never.
Okay, I do like them with sriracha. I don't do the mustard. I guess mustard because of the deviled situation.
Right.
It's German mustard's stone ground.
Yes, you get those little stone ground stuff in there, and
like
it's
the
just
fancy,
similar flavor
like
palette though as a deviled egg.
Right.
Like it's
like
German mustard's very vinegary.
Right. It's like putting
and I love
pepper and mustard on the egg.
Yeah.
Whereas like pepper is what I'd go to if like there's nothing around. I'll just put pepper on a hard-boiled egg.
Right.
That's a good delicious. Yeah, that's my go-to too. But yeah, I'm just trying to make sure I don't get bored because I've been eating eggs and bacon every morning for like 7 or 8 years, but I switched to like
Canadian bacon recently. I mean, almost a year ago now. Definitely before South Beach Diet was when you switched to Canadian bacon. Because I remember that switch, and you kept on trying to make me eat it, and I was like, I do not want that.
Is there a reason to switch off of bacon to Canadian bacon?
It's just lower fat.
Yeah, it's just a lot lower fat, and it's way easy to cook. I can just throw 2 pieces in the pan and cook it for a couple.
Oh no! Have you ever air fried regular bacon?
I mean, no, I haven't.
Sam, you need an Instant Pot.
So
you need the kind.
You get that Instant Pot.
I don't want to throw anything off, but I have to pee.
Go for it. Yeah, no, we still got 3 of us left, so we're all good.
Yeah.
So you take that hard-boiled egg and you cut up the Canadian bacon. You wrap a little strip of Canadian bacon around that hard-boiled egg, and you eat that.
Oh yeah, that's a really good idea. You
dress that up, and it's going to taste really good.
Here, I have an idea. This is stupid, but Bill, can you scoot and then pull table this way just a tiny bit, very carefully? Yeah. I'm being obsessive with the background stuff. Is it gonna be weird?
I don't.
Can you lift up that end just a little?
Is there? Whoa! Hang on. Why is this even happening?
Yeah, why is this?
Never mind.
It was your.
We're hooked on something. But let's just leave it. Okay. I wanted to just get it so the curtain was like completely behind us, but I'm just being obsessive. Because again, this is the inaugural. You've seen old episodes of Rum Dumpster. They look like shit. I'm using that Sony Handycam that I stole from the garage because it was the only thing that actually would like run for that long. Yeah. But like because I didn't have a program like OBS, which this is what we're using now. And it
does look really good.
Yeah, because you can use. Yeah. We could as many USB ports as your computer has. You could use multiple iPhones. I could have a thing here where I'm switch camera angles. Yeah. It's very, very, very cool. And I'm
convinced that I could move this by myself, but I don't want to have my backside on the camera. Which that's what I'd have to do. I'd have to stand over here, lift it up on both hands.
No, I think maybe... No, it's fine. Because my idea was just pull everything this way and then move the camera accordingly. But it's fine.
I think it's fine.
I know. I just being a little bit obsessive because I like how clean this looks. Like, this is so great. No one's watching this because it looks good.
We keep looking at the laptop camera. We are going to have to fix this.
No, I'm looking at that a lot, actually.
I'm trying.
I sit there. I use the Ring as my default to, like, just do this.
Hello, guys.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
But yeah, I only look down to check that it's still recording and all that shit like that. But I like how pretty it is.
Is it the camera on the camera, or is it the camera?
It's the camera on the camera. It's camera on the camera.
Okay, but so it's not that middle one.
No, that's not a thing. That's a screw.
Yeah,
like
that's a holder.
If you wanna set it up.
It is.
Yeah,
It looks like a camera lens.
Yeah.
No, it's so that you can mount another phone below it if you need to, or a different type of camera.
Yeah, you could have it screwed in differently to some other kind of thing. Like,
that's the same little screw thing that my DSLR uses. It's like a pretty standard.
Yep, it's the camera. The camera one.
Standard camera.
Because the same thing that's holding my phone there could hold my Sony camera if that could be used successfully as a webcam, which it hasn't. However, I have recorded things by. That's a little flimsy, but I've screwed my whole camera into that light stand and be like, okay, because it's got like a huge lens on it and like.
So if it is kind of flimsy, bean bags, like little cornhole bean bags on the feet, work fucking wonders. Because I only buy cheap fucking stands and.
Well, right. There's no reason to be like, you're like, oh, this is $200 one,
$50
or $10, and let's put a cornhole bag on it. Yeah, that's the way better way to go. Actually, though, my issue when I do that is tricky, and I'm glad that the phone works as a webcam here because, like, it's the joint at the top. Like, the weight of the A7S or whatever, like, it tips it forward, and I keep having to, like, unscrew. You know how you start stripping stuff, and you're like, God damn it. So the whole thing doesn't come down as much as just that little joint starts getting all whacked out of shape, and it sucks. But also, if I was being really smart, I could use one of my real camera stands and set this up in front of it and just do that. And that's that's what I started doing. But as far as the podcast goes, just jamming the camera or the phone in there, seems to work or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. But
well, and like we were talking about earlier, not on the podcast, but earlier tonight
in our lives,
was that phone cameras are so ridiculously good these days.
Yeah. Like, man, my iPhone camera is ridiculous.
That's not even the new. That's an 8 Plus. That's like at this point that's old.
I have the 8 Plus, which is
like Alexis has an 11,
old,
and that shit is amazing.
And it's amazing.
Yeah, I think I have a
10X.
Oh, yeah, I have a 10X.
Like a please.
And you could buy. The bill tender will help you.
It makes me wonder if I should have just like used the new camera used the new phone that I bought instead of buying that. What you call it?
You bought a webcam.
I also forgot that we had fucking ice.
We do, yeah. My parents
and it's in a fancy container.
My mom and dad watched Rum Dumpster, and they watched me get up to mix people drink a bunch. And like, I got a thing in the mail, and it was my address, but it wasn't addressed to Alexis or I. It was addressed to Rum Dumpster. I'm like, oh, here we fucking go again. Like, do we already have people that know where we fucking live? We just bought this place, and then it was like, my dad was like, "Did you get anything in the mail today?" I'm like, fuck. And like, yeah. And like, no, because again, because of COVID, we can't like really hang out. Like, they're vaccinated now, but for a while there, it was like, hey guys, how you doing? Like, like, so they would just, hey, let's like. My dad knows who Bill is without ever having met him, just from what he's just like, hey, did Bill cut his finger off when you guys were making pumpkin shit or whatever? And it's like, so he sent us this blinging ass ice bucket so that we could keep
Papa Wheeler.
Fixing our drinks.
Thanks, Papa John.
And my mom, Terry and John mailed me an ice. They did the ice bucket challenge was mail me an ice bucket to my house.
Terry friended me on Facebook.
Well, yeah, she was like commenting on your shit. My mom was helping Bill through his life.
You're great. John, I don't really know you yet, but I'm sure you're wonderful too.
Yeah, well,
he seems to know you. So
I know,
we'll all meet up eventually.
I'm a fan of my fans.
Yeah, my mom and dad are biggest fans.
Oh,
but yeah, having an actual ice bucket is actually like amazingly helpful because I did keep getting up and brushing past it. Who needs a new cocktail? And just like. I can't help but be the person that's like, I'll set the whole thing up and then I'll make everybody drink. Like,
yeah. You're the host too.
Yeah.
So it's your house. It's your alcohol. It's your.
Well, I pride myself on like, hey, who wants
We don't need to use it, but it feels weird not having it on.
Oh yeah, and this is the.
oh my gosh, what is it?
It's an ashtray Bill got me. Now we don't smoke cigarettes in the house, but I tend to I buy these hemp CBD cigarette things.
I do those too. I was so upset because I left mine at fucking Sam's house. I was like, where were those? Where did they go? And he's like, I think you left them in the bed.
Yeah.
I think that's where they
this
are
thing
right
has
now.
this like 60s Christmas ornament, East
is
India,
really cool.
British East India Company thing. And what you do is this flips out. And if I don't do it too toughly,
and then you can just
you sit there smoking, and you're like, well, this is gonna go back down. You can see there's even cigarettes in there.
Damn, now we're talking about cigarettes.
It's like a Fabergé.
Yes, it's like this beautiful thing, and I'll sit here smoking my Mad Men stage cigarettes, which also a little bit of CBD kind of is calming. Like it's whatever, but it just smells like you're smoking.
Do you like the hemp's ones? Are those the ones that you normally buy?
It's the there was like another brand that actually smelled more like real cigarettes that like Alexis was like, you need to stop smoking these in the fucking house. It smells like actual cigarettes. And I'm like, you're right, it does. It stinks in here. It sucks.
Yeah,
but yeah, the hemp's one, the hemp's
ones just smell like swag weed.
They just smell like you've been smoking
bad weed.
Lakeville fucking high school kid ditch weed in your fucking house, which isn't all that bad. And we usually don't do it. But however, Bill and Alexis and I did a podcast where we were comparing The Neverending Story to Labyrinth and all the 80s puppet movies. And we smoked so much that Bill had to rip the smoke detector off the wall because we set it off down here. Because all three of us were chain smoking. And like, you could barely see the camera. It was all like hazy. And it's like, beep, 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 beep. Like, what the fuck? It's like smoke detector. We had to like rip it off the wall. That was a very... So when you were like, what's your podcast about? It's a mess. Like,
that's the whole point.
It's not. It's just kind of like, it's just everyone on it's kind of funny and very drunk, and it equals, entertainment of some kind.
I'm having fun.
I'm glad.
That's the main point.
And
it's a great way to look back too and be like, remember that night?
Remember that night?
Thing?
And here we were not putting it on YouTube. Like we'd have to use our own booze-soaked brains to remember this shit. And now it's just kind of like, we can just go back and look.
Yeah.
And we can play clips and stuff.
That'd be nice. You never know. You never know where you go in life,
Oh, by the way, I want to do this real quick, just speaking of, because now we've broken the fourth wall back into we're talking about being on a podcast, and we were having a real moment for a while there, but it goes in waves.
Is that a rule? You're not supposed to...
No, it's not a rule at all. It's like ecstasy. And the first rule of podcasts is don't mention that, like, because then everyone starts going, like, what should we talk about? But no, more just like, because we were yelling about the camera and stuff. No, we've broken the fourth wall and broken it. We broke the fifth wall. Like, But
the fifth wall is my butthole. So
all right, yeah.
I haven't broken that yet.
Not broken yet.
No, it's just all. Were we talking about bleaching it earlier? Was that no?
That was
Bill's butthole, right? Because I had to get up.
We were talking about my pizza poop.
Right.
Yeah.
So, your pizza poop, and then Bill was like, "I bleached my butthole," and you were
No. I'm not a candidate for a bleach butthole.
We turned it on. I think that was before we turned it on too.
Yes.
So Bill's butthole is normal colored. Just so any ladies or whoever out there, if you want a butthole that has not been altered by science and chemicals, Bill's your man.
It's not dark enough to bleach. I'm not a candidate for bleaching.
Well, doesn't that mean that just you're like, you could probably lie and be like, I get it bleached, and then be like, it looks good, and you'd be like, yeah, and it's like you didn't do shit.
Yeah, you have a free pass, Bill.
You can tell a lot of fibs about your butthole, and people would go along with you.
There's a lot of ways.
Anyone can tell fibs about their butthole, and people will go along with it.
I don't know.
And I think
I've made some claims about mine that have not held up in court.
We might want to save this for Alexis's podcast.
I know, she loves buttholes.
She loves buttholes, huh?
Yeah.
Well, damn.
And if they
I want to be on a butthole podcast.
Well, anyone that's on this podcast can always come back. We're not some weird guest-driven thing where it's like, hey, guys, no, next week we have the Bernie Sanders is going to be on. Yeah. No. It's like, hey, are you busy? Because, like...
I want to specifically be hit up about the butthole podcast.
Okay.
It's a web of podcasts. It's like a channel of like various
it's a
I know.
So
I'm joking.
Totally
but we can start with buttholes on the next one I'm on.
It's an important topic. It very much is.
You really should take care of your butthole.
Right. You know,
we installed a bidet in the upstairs bathroom, the upstairs bathroom.
There you go. See, John's already ahead of it.
That way,
it's not like I didn't know that I wanted that, but I've never lived somewhere where we made that happen.
John's living in 2010.
Oh my god. It's cut down on showers.
So
like
clean.
I fucking hardly ever. And like if I brush my teeth and use the bidet, why the fuck am I in that shower? I'm set.
There you go.
It's wonderful.
Got the important orifices taken
Well, no,
care
man,
of.
people be like, why do you have that? I'm like, if you got poop on your arm, would you just like rub on it with paper and be like, cool, I'm going to work? Like, that's not what you would do.
Sure.
You'd hose it off with water, which that's what I do to my butthole. Like, it is, oh God, it's so, the Instapot, the bidet. Yeah, I am living in 3021. That is,
yeah, tell you.
The Alchemical Cocktail Lounge is a very modern place.
I did use the last bit of toilet paper upstairs, but I didn't want to change it. I know, I didn't want to change it because I have a thing where I do not like to touch someone else's roll of toilet paper
that's
first.
fine. Oh,
Yeah, that'll ruin
hand.
it. That'll.
I get you.
The first hand that touched that roll of toilet paper.
I know, and I want to get
that toilet paper.
I wanted to
B.
address it because I didn't want you to think I was just like a rude person who used your like.
Well, yeah, but there's also like 3 other people here, and 2 of them are grody dudes that I'm friends with. So I wouldn't necessarily have assumed that it was you. It'd be like, oh well, B probably used up all my toilet paper and just fucked my life up. Like, no. It also, I do want to get a main floor bidet too. It's just that we were remodeling the bedroom upstairs bathroom first.
Right.
One thing at a time. We're not millionaires, so you
and
know.
they have some really affordable ones nowadays.
They do.
Like, they are not that expensive.
They sponsor a lot of podcasts, as a matter of fact. Hey, Tushy, reach out to me.
Or Toto Washlet. I'm a big fan of your stuff.
This is the first I've heard of it, but I'd be willing to make you a commercial.
That's the one Mike had.
Is that really the Mike and Miley one?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Why do you know that?
Well, because they're friends of ours.
Because it was good enough to remember.
I was a big fan.
Yeah, when
and I considered buying one if I had enough money at the time, which I did not.
When someone sprays your butthole that clean, you're like, who the fuck is responsible for
I can
this?
I can adjust water pressure. I can change the angle from
and the temperature, and just like, oh yeah, it was like a Star Trek, like Captain Kirk, like seat, just beep, 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 boop, boop, boop.
Oh, by the way,
do either of them sing though? Because the singing one is really good.
There is a singing one.
I don't know. You could probably.
That's one of those
arrange that.
Japanese ones.
I believe it is.
They do them so that you can poop in public places without you being anxious about your farts.
Oh, it covers up your fart
So it's
noises.
like a white noise machine.
You're like all good. Like,
That's kind of like when I'm
that's
at a friend's
awesome.
house and I got a noisy shit, so I turn on the faucet.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what that is.
A little white noise dump.
Yeah, you're like, I need to silence this. What we're doing in here is private.
But yes, they have some of them. I don't know that any of them are currently being marketed to America. I don't know enough about aftermarket American bidets to know if they have
Americans
a white noise
Time
one.
to get familiar with that because like I need to know.
I think Americans
I want a
wouldn't
bidet
have
in
that
every
problem.
last room in this house. So maybe we're eventually going to put on.
So they don't even have a
bathroom down
toilet.
here.
It's just a bidet.
No, yeah. It's like if I take a shit upstairs and come down here to do a podcast, and I feel a little bit of like, if I'm sliding into third and I feel a little turd, like I need to get hosed down in the laundry room or somewhere.
The show must go on.
A standalone bidet that seems destructive. That might be a poor idea. But
you never know. You never know when you.
Would
need
you
a
deny
little
someone a clean
spritz.
butthole? I wouldn't. It seems like a human rights violation.
Maybe if they put like a blow dryer in it as well, so you could spritz but then dry up real quick.
Yeah, it's
so
a fuzzy little man.
So you don't
in that
fuck up
area.
your
Yeah.
So you don't fuck up your pants.
It's like
This is a golden idea, guys. We can make millions.
It's a good bidet to die.
This would be a great thing to put in the music venues. You could just do a quick wash up and clean up.
A good bidet to die.
I'm telling you, yeah, that could be the.
Bill, if you accidentally die on my watch some point, maybe your parents are going to be like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Bill asked a good bidet to die behind his tombstone." It's like, it doesn't sound like he held my hand as he passed. Right. This is what he wanted. Etch that shit into granite, put it in the middle of the cemetery.
Do you guys have tombstone ideas? I have a tombstone idea.
Oh my god, I don't want to be remembered so much.
I plan to be.
I want my tombstone to have just a number on it, just a random number that means nothing.
You could
I was
join the
pitching
military.
57, but I realized that it's not prime.
It should have a dent.
Also, they might think you invented ketchup.
57?
Like, ooh, 57. Heinz 57.
57.
I don't know. It's
Here lies 57.
If
But
you're
they're like, what? How many that many bodies here? Or that many years old they were? Or
I just wanna
that
be
many
a-
people they killed before they
Like how
died?
you gull them that many years old they were.
I think it'd be cool to be
Thank you,
like,
Bill.
cremated and planted into a tree, but maybe like an angry tree.
ooh, my
Or
favorite
being
thing.
eaten by mushrooms?
My favorite thing
Oh,
was
yeah.
being buried in a
I am
mushroom
made of mostly
suit.
mushrooms.
Yeah.
It, like fucking like consumes you.
No, I don't want to be buried in a
eats all
I
coffin.
was gonna say I don't want a marker because for one, just I'm a a realist where it's just like, do you remember your great grandfather's name offhand? No. And
I do not,
because of
no.
course you don't, because it's like, and time sure flies when you cease to exist. Like it just is like, oh yeah, like will people remember me in 50 years? It's like, yeah, but pretty soon it'll be 2,000 years, 9,000 years, 100 million years. You're gone, you're done. So it's like I don't want a rock. Like I'm gonna be like, when I die, just throw me in the trash like Danny DeVito. And it's like it doesn't matter. Anything that I did, which is scary, weird stuff while I was alive, will get remembered for as long as it will by whoever. But then, like, I want nothing just because it feels weird. It feels bougie and pointless to be like, whoa, this
Like a relic of an ancient time.
yeah, like even if I was like someone who was like, build me a pyramid, at some point the sun will turn red and expand. Those will be gone. It all goes away in the end, and time just again whizzes by when you're not around to experience it. And it just
True.
like you're like, oh, someone will remember in 1,000 years. What about in 1,000,000?
Right.
Probably not.
So the saying is, you die the last time anyone says your name.
Yeah,
But you want to
like in Coco. The movie is fucking awesome.
I'm also interested to see how death trends go through the rest of our lifetime.
Yeah.
Because certain different funeral trends are going out of style, caskets are going out of style. Death trends are very different than they used to be, even in maybe our grandparents or our great grandparents' timelines.
Yeah.
Timelines, like as if they were
Yeah, their section of the time in which they existed. Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm very interested to see if maybe something new and interesting comes in style.
There's some DMT related.
Have you seen that bookshelf that you can break down and turn into a coffin?
I have seen that.
A coffin?
Yes.
Okay.
You can turn the bookshelf into a coffin.
So you can
It's like
It's kind of like a.
makes sense. So you're like don't buy
It's
me a
kind of
coffin.
like you can put it
Just
together
take
this one
bookshelf.
way, and then you put it back together as a coffin. So you can have it as your furniture for as however long you live, and then it can be reassembled as
useful in life
a coffin.
and in death.
However,
There's a difference
who do
between-
you trust to not only put away all your books that you have and reassemble your furniture after you have died? I don't have a friend like that.
Right.
I do, but I'm pretty positive that I'm going to outlive them.
Deathbed,
Right.
They're like, I have a friend like that. They died in
For the
2038.
I love building RTA furniture so much that I would be that friend for you.
Maybe
I would assemble that casket.
Find
I would
someone to
just
build
love
this. That is your mission.
Yeah.
Find you a bill to build your shit in death.
Yeah, there you go.
I will build it.
If you build it, they will die. Also, one of the the never thought about it like that things I was meaning to make something about, because there's like a backlog of these ridiculous things, is what happens when we discover the cure for death, because we will.
We will. Oh,
That is going to happen.
I think about that
and
a lot.
it is going to be wild.
Murder's going to be a lot more fun.
It might be in our lifetime.
I
Actually.
think
Probably
the
not.
biggest thing
No, because
that
it's
is going
aging.
to be it's going to diverge in one of two ways. It's going to be if we find the biological cure for death, or if we are able to upload ourselves to a electronic
That's the
situation.
two possible things.
Those are the two possible
probably a mixture.
ways that death will end. I think in our lifetime.
It will. I don't know if you guys ever. I actually listen to a lot of podcasts that talk about stuff like this, like Isaac Arthur and stuff. Shout out to Isaac Arthur. But he actually does kind of go in depth about it, about what kind of like our culture would be like. And if you think about it, if death was no longer necessarily something we really had
when
to
death
fear.
ceases to become a part of life.
Yeah, because we are already, if you think about it, like, you know, some, like, obesity is a problem just because our nature, we've never had such abundance of nutrients and stuff before.
We were designed to handle, there's no governor on how much weight we can gain because weight gain is actually a thing that keeps you alive in the Serengeti.
Exactly.
And so it's like there was no precedent ahead of that was like, hey, what if there's so much corn syrup that fucking, like, this thing that you would never even get a taste of in your whole existence is like all that everything's made out of. Like, in your body's like, oh, we don't know what to do here.
If you kind of extrapolate that on the idea of maybe we eliminate aging, because that's really where it's going to come down to more than likely.
Yeah, the cure for death, what I mean by that more specifically is the cure for aging. Like, where it's like, this is no longer a thing.
Your cells no longer degrade when they reproduce.
Yeah, a car accident will still put you down. But in perpetuity, if you don't get killed by some shit, you're fine.
Well, actually, what I was reading, it's free radicals in your cells.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If we can figure out a way to prevent the free radicals in our bodies from damaging our cells,
in the 80s band?
that would
90s.
90s. All right.
Maybe, yeah. But so that
around will kick your ass and Courtney Love and yeah, that's them. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
I watched a documentary about that band on YouTube a while ago.
Did you?
God bless the infinite nonsense of YouTube where you're like, hey, what happened to those guys? Like, buckle up. You got 3 hours? We'll tell you all about that shit. And I'm like, good, I can't sleep. Fuck you, let's watch this.
That's good. That's why I like watching Isaac Arthur too. He's really good to listen to when I go to bed. Just because he's got a lot of good information.
You do that. I'll go and watch like my CSI or Bones or like Criminal Minds in the living room, and you'll go watch her.
I'll go watch my.
I really don't like police propaganda in the form of like Marvel movies, but I do.
Cops.
Or I don't like cops, but I do
like why are you so sweaty? I was watching Cops.
I am curious.
That's a Step Brothers reference. Sorry, it was one of my favorite.
Oh yeah, no, I do remember.
It's more like military.
Yeah. No, and I hate those. I don't like
I like the a cute girl is very smart and isn't a cop, but she helps all the cops out.
Right.
That's why I like Lucifer so much. The cute boy who happens to be the devil helps out the cops.
Oh, right. I haven't watched that much of Lucifer.
Honestly,
but I've heard,
I thought it was going to be stupid. Because it sounded like teen book series bullshit to me. And I'm like, hey, look, turns out this is funny. And I have...
Are we out?
No, I got it. We got something.
One of them's water. The unopened one is vodka still.
Yeah, I definitely... Oh, that's what happened. I was like, this ice watered my vodka down, but it was because you have a...
has been opened and drank.
But down here?
Yes.
Okay, so the only opulent left...
Something else.
There's vodka. Well, there's gin. There's that light.
Oh, gin will make me throw up immediately. I would rather switch to rum, tequila, or even whiskey than gin.
We have...
It's Kirkland.
Sure.
Yeah, pop that open.
Yeah.
Is it open already? Oh, okay. Yeah. That's
vodka doesn't smell. What am I doing?
That's vodka. No, it smells like burning, Ralph.
Can you take a sip of that real quick and let me know if it's vodka?
All right.
Well, don't sip off my stuff just in case we already haven't exposed each other.
Well, alcohol will probably kill COVID.
Only if it's higher than 70%.
It's definitely alcohol.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
Checks out.
Do you want some club soda in there or just...
I don't want club soda. I'm just going to put ice in it.
Okay.
Club soda will make me fart.
Do you want more?
There we go.
No, that's more than enough.
Because it'll make you fart.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. We don't have a fart mic. We only have the mouth mic.
Right, exactly. It'll be farting with nobody paying to listen.
Oh, right. So it'll be a waste of a.
It'll be a waste of a good.
A waste of a pair of underwear. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
That's true, man. You really gotta think these things through.
Well, I'm running a podcast. Like, hey, by the way, we're at an hour and 2 minutes. So this is how fast the shit goes. Yeah. We don't have to stop. But I was just gonna point out that when it's just like, what are we gonna talk about? Like, this was it.
Like, no, my fee is up.
Absolutely. All right. There has to go. What were we just talking about before you were out of booze, though?
Aging.
Aging.
Oh yeah,
yep.
We were talking about literally what would happen to society when we cured death.
I think
we'll wrap that up in the next 5 minutes. I'm sure.
There's a couple interesting shows that I don't remember exactly. They're all foreign, but there's a couple interesting shows that I can send to you later that we could maybe like watch or whatever, if you like them, if you don't like them, whatever, that are about aging, and one of the concepts is that they'll have to reinstitute the one-child policy.
Well, that's been a big thing where people have been like, the moral quandary with the whole, like, what if we cure aging?
The age of whatever would go up. The age of majority would then be like 30 or 40.
The graying of society would be like very...
So I'm confused. Wouldn't it be 2 children?
Well,
why would it be?
Because we got to cut
people to have a child.
Yeah, but staying where we are isn't necessarily the best idea either. It's to cut it down, and then you go back and change the policy to be like, hey, now that we're at like 2 billion, so now it's 2 per couple or whatever.
When we start colonizing space,
I
can say words right now.
But we might cure death long before that's sustainable. Because terraforming Mars, and I don't know if anyone's ever played Doom, but there's some tricky things that happen along the way. But you're like, that's not necessarily a sustainable solution to like how many people there might be. So a narrowing of like, the problem is, it is actually funny. My dad, when I got a bit older, it was a few years ago, but it was an interesting hearing just him say that like, to like look at me seriously during a Christmas and being like, the economy is like a fucking Ponzi scheme, like where it's like there needs to be more people because like I'm like, oh my god, like I'm not even a rebel, I'm like part of a multi-generational like, hey, this is all bullshit like thing. It's an interesting thing to discover, but the whole like it's designed on, if things are designed on constant growth, it's also designed on constant population growth, and it's like that's not sustainable per the resources. But if you want the rich people to be in charge forever, which of course we all do, because we all bow down and worship authority, and
so far,
and we'll all be billionaires someday, I'm sure, though we are not descended from them, of course. Whatever, but like that whole model is based on constant growth, and that's one of the reasons that people are so. When people are like, oh, religious people hate birth control and abortion, and it's like, yeah, they do, but they're told to by billionaires, because honestly, like as soon as people don't have to have 1 million kids, there's not that unsustainable constant growth model dies. Like it's just kind of like it's all numbers and it's all bullshit. It's like I want to get mad at those people, but it's not even them. They're a tool of their own oppression. The people above them are like, oh keep having kids constantly, because like again, every business is based on constant growth, and if population isn't based on constant growth, and it's like, hey, isn't that why the world eventually exploded? It's like, no, it's liberal propaganda. Fuck you, shut up. Like, but it's this perpetuation of a thing where you just hope it's not, if you're part of the rich people that run everything, you hope it's not your generation that pulls the short straw and be like, oops, party's over. Because it's like, my great grandkids might eventually be the ones that are like, the constant growth model finally imploded everything and we ran out of resources. It's like, but that's 2080's problem, and I'll be dead by then. However, if we cure death, it'll start being everyone's problem, which
very quickly
alter everyone's old dookie
think
long
about
view.
It though, guys, everything would change, like jobs would change.
Yep. And that's why I brought that up, is just like, hey, like we're like, oh, we can't smash and grab and assume we'll be dead at 78 anymore. Because we're going to be dead at 512, and I don't want to live on a garbage island in a fucking dead planet's molten hell.
Exactly.
While we you're like, I got to actually think about this realistically now. I can't lie.
Or imagine how everyone would approach their life and their career if they plan to live to 510.
Yeah, they'd be like, oh, we can, imagine, we can play the long and slow on this one.
So many people would go, it would give a whole new concept, a whole new meaning to going through like an artist period, or
for 100 years.
This is my science period.
Right,
like,
exactly.
I'm really, I'm educating myself right now. I'm only 12 years into my education, so I think I still have another 40 years to educate myself before I get into science.
Which would be wonderful.
But
think of what we would come up if that's how the world worked. Where it's just like,
and it could though.
Like instead of being like, hey, I suffered through 2 years of science bullshit because my parents wouldn't let me inherit their company until I did some college. Instead of like, dude, I spent 40 years really learning how this works.
Right.
Shit, man. This is crazy.
I ran down this like molecule rabbit hole for a while, even though like I'm a chemist, so like, maybe, but I was just really focused on this one molecule. So that's been the last 4 years of my life.
Yeah.
And, everything
would bear much more closer. Well, and also like wisdom with age it's a fascinating thing because I've always been a shithead about it, and Sam, you were there for a lot of that, where I'm like, like just because you've been around forever but not learning anything doesn't make you wiser than me. When I was a young man, that was my credo. I still agree with that because there are a lot of people who are like,
there's a lot of stupid old people.
Yeah, if you've been a Walmart greeter for 40 years, how wise have you gotten?
Right.
And like,
probably better at you with people, though.
Very much, perhaps. But only a certain bent of people, and that's kind of the thing. But it's like, if you're someone who's like, I have been Hannibal Lectering this shit for the same amount of, every bit of 60 years, the same way you have, it's kind of like, okay, but see, here's how everything actually works. And the older I get, the more I realize that we would live in a wildly upheaved world if, like, the average lifespan went up to, like, let's just throw out 300 years for fun.
Yeah.
You'd be like, you'd have 200-year-old people that are like, I have
just starting
figured
to maybe
this
think
shit
about
out.
Procreating.
Right.
Yeah. And you're like, I get how this all works. And you'd have 200-year-old people who are just coasting for those 200 years, and the discrepancy between those two groups of people would become actually greater. You'd be like, the chasm between, like, dude, I have learned the knowledge of 3 Gandhis, 2 Martin Luther Kings, and 4 Confuciuses, while you have kind of just been like a QAnon person for this long.
Weed at your mom's house, like, who's also still alive.
Yeah, and you guys have just been living in a trailer full of weed and crack this long. It's like, okay, well, cool. And it's like, and then having to be like, well, both sides. Like, that would get even weirder and dumber.
Yeah.
Boy, I don't know if we're going to solve the cure for death on this podcast.
I'm not sure what we covered while I was gone, but so you think you're going to cover the...
We were talking about if people had cured death, what it would do to society. Would it make people procreate more, procreate less, learn more, learn less?
Also, we don't know what the cure for death would do to the procreation window, because that's not... That can end at like 39 or 50.
Right,
depending.
Because... supposedly that only degrades 4 women. No,
guys' progeny does actually get less likely to be sustainable over time.
No,
it takes longer.
It takes longer, exactly.
If it was an actual thing, I could see happening. You have to freeze your eggs in your fertile time.
Yeah.
And then they will only give them back to you when you have done this much for society.
You got to earn that shit back.
That's not even a bad system.
You cannot procreate until you have done XYZ.
Right.
I fucking hope that
now
would be how that would run. Now that's going to be a
dystopian book of mine.
It's funny, but like, some people will be like, where's my freedom of choice to fuck everything up with no consequences, because that means I'm free. But you and I are like, hey, if it ran like that, that'd probably be good.
Right.
Like, that would be the right way to handle that nonsense.
It would be trickier, but really it'd be a better way to do that to the men.
Yeah. I mean, I really don't think gender would really matter in this context. Like, I think
everyone could be kind of like
biological science gender,
sterilized until 100 if we were going to live till 300 years old.
You'd be like, you don't get to have a kid at 19, Jesus.
But primarily,
with a life expectancy of 500.
Primarily, I was more curious about would the cognitive degeneration be a thing?
We assume that if we by curing death, we mean curing aging, which the cognitive thing would be a part of that. Because people that lost their mind at 73 that lived to 500 would not be sustainable.
So we would be young, not young, but I would say like
30s-ish.
mid-30s.
So, forever.
Yeah. But what's the limit for the human brain for the cognitive ability to retrain information?
We would have to fix that.
Yeah, we don't know. That's the thing.
Because if we couldn't fix that, we couldn't count ourselves as have curing death. Because senility is a little death that it'd be like, okay, look,
little death is an orgasm. Don't refer to senility as a little death.
That's
a
tiny death.
That's the deathless death.
A tiny death, not a little death. That's a little bigger. No, I know the tiny death thing, but I get you.
Yeah.
All right.
Don't use slang for coming for.
Coming is my favorite
aging, because then it will be
I did that on purpose because I like this slang for orgasm.
If it was on purpose, then it's cool.
Everything I do is on purpose, and that'll make you like me more right now, and in the next 2 years, probably much less.
Much less.
But Be like, well, John probably didn't. He did. Well, fuck that guy. But yeah, just
how over are we?
No. There's actually no rules. We've done 3-hour podcasts.
I know that there's no rules. I'm just asking what timing.
Oh, we hit an hour, 12 minutes, and 47 seconds ago. But what we're talking about now is maybe more interesting than everything we were talking about previously. So I just wanted to keep going.
It could be.
But the minute everybody is like, I'm bored and I'm done and I want to drink off camera, then we'll just shut it down. Speaking of which, though,
drink off camera.
Well, we do that every second we're not on camera. So I mean, 23 hours a day versus the 24th. We're fairly drunk.
But every time there's a camera on, we drink in front.
It doesn't match in person, but it looks like the same color.
It does.
Yeah, it's all the ISO settings on the camera.
We're like kind of a couple. I don't know. So I don't think that anyone explained me and Sam's relationship.
Well, you used to be together, right?
Well, no. So we're still together. No? We're still together.
We're still friends.
We're non-monogamous.
Yeah.
So I date around. Sam doesn't date as much as me.
I'm just kind of lazy.
But Sam. But
you explained your job earlier, and I'm not shocked to learn that. So,
yeah,
but yes, of course.
So I date around. Yeah. Sam and I spend a shitload of time together, but in a non-monogamous sense usually. Yeah. But we were just like, literally, his hair is such a different color than mine in the regular light, and we match. Both
of your hair looks amazing on camera.
It looks really cool. Yeah.
They both look amazing.
I'm sorry, I just noticed, I was like, wait, like both of us have like purple hair on the camera.
Well, it's funny too, because this is only a love note to myself, but you look a lot like someone else I know and care about on camera randomly, a ghost of something that I remember, and it's weird. But also, yeah, you and Sam's. Well, it's also though, like, we have effect lighting that is also
so
kind of
like
altering the blue and and I did that just because it's fun to have, because like it makes my like but well. I wish my tattoos were blacker,
but... It also makes my
but
pimples not look like a thing.
Yeah. It's kind of, there's like a bit of a gauzy sort of filter over everything. We're a sexy bunch on this thing.
Oh, yeah. It's like the opposite Matrix. It's pretty instead of green.
But yeah, it makes all my knuckle tattoos look all glowy blue.
Like a heavy
Does it say null and void? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Null, void.
And it's meta because So, like, I wanted to give myself no out to go like, I'll just go back and get a retail job or whatever. And like, well, if you get like finger tattoos, like that gets a lot harder because, I've been freelancing for years. I bought a house freelancing. Like, it's like, so I'm like, so I am null and void. By getting this tattoo, I am null and void. It makes it a lot harder for me to give up and be like, I'm going to get up. And which is what I am, and it makes it very difficult for me to be like, all right, I'll go get a job at Walmart. It's like, no, you have fucking knuckle tattoos, you fucking drug addict, get the fuck out of here. And I'm like, so it's like this weird sort of like, remember, John, you're null and void. You make a lot of money freelancing, producing records, and doing video stuff.
You have to stick with it.
I have to stick with it. I branded myself as someone who's also, and also the headier version of, and this is like more stupid.
You want to give us like the bigger story. The bigger story.
Well, it's my YouTube channel, but like, I am someone who understands, and it's where some of my money comes from, marketing and propaganda and the human condition and psyche so fucking very, very, very well that like I am someone who is useless to people who are like, when there's numbers on the ledger being like, well, this amount of people will definitely be into this. I can see through it so well. See, it sounds egotistical. That's why I don't lead with this. But I'm just to the point where I am of no use.
Some of us went to therapy for 1,000 years, and we know how to kind of play around with it.
Yeah.
It happens.
But it just, I am of the people that run everything and have their boots on our throat. I have no use. It would be better for them to kill me because I'm no use to them. I'm null and void. They're like, hey, that like immigrants are trying to like, dude, I get how this works. I know why you tell that to a certain group of people and why they react the way they do. They don't this and that, and you and and I don't. I see 100% through it. I am useless to you. I am null and void. But
Right.
I also did it just so it's like, John, you'd be better starving to death than you would being like, well, I'll go back and get a job at Walmart. Like, no. Like, just...
Why do you keep bringing up Walmart? Did you used to work at Walmart?
I never actually worked at Walmart.
Okay.
But they're just, as far as America goes,
right,
and if
right.
you
So
want to
just
make an
like
example out of
job,
something,
a job.
thing,
Yeah.
where it's like some bullshit, like, we're going to drug test you and we don't allow tattoos, and it's like, I live outside of that, and
Yeah.
I made it, but it's like weirdly... The funny thing is that I'm covered in tattoos over the rest of my body, and these are the most meaningful because these ones I can hide, and they're art, like they're Lovecraft and Beksinski inspired paintings and things like that. And it's like, but this is the only thing that's like, hey, like I'm gonna do this to myself so that like I don't ever get tempted to like knuckle under and get lazy about just being a fucking nutcase as an unattractive, large, gross, cis, dirty, white, fat man. But my art is what I survive off of.
It pushes you into a space where you are obligated to survive off your art.
Yes, I have no choice but to be like, well, I could just give up and, you know what? I can't. Well, fuck it. We're going to get this done. And that's exactly why.
Well,
so it's kind of this bizarre, weird meta thing. And part of me is like, I like the pretty art of the rest of my tattoos. These maybe are my least favorite, but I had to do it.
Yeah.
Like, I just had to.
I like it.
A birthmark for my weird second life.
Right.
Yeah,
no,
there you go.
absolutely. I've been
Way to keep you
recently...
hungry.
COVID has gotten, like, I had quite a few tattoos before COVID.
Yeah.
But tattoos have been the way for me to cope through COVID. So I have, like, a full side piece now that I got during COVID.
What did you get?
It is a...
You don't have to show, you could just explain.
It's a snake that is fighting a raven that was shot by an arrow.
I like that. Is it I have pet snakes. What is it?
It's not an actual snake.
Okay,
I asked my artist to do something, and then she didn't really do it, but I liked it anyways.
Okay,
if that makes sense.
I feel you.
I wanted it to
like
be
that.
I wanted it to be a constrictor, but she has like venom fangs. Like my artist was just like, I want it to be dripping venom, and so then she showed me the art. And
there are some
like,
snakes that are actually a combination of those.
I know.
Okay.
But it's not a real snake.
I get you.
It's just a snake. But it is like the raven is real, and then so it's like I have like a from like here to here. It's like an arrow going through the raven, and then the snake is trying to eat it since it's now hurt.
Yes.
And that's one of my favorite new ones. I also got like
cool.
this one that's been on the podcast the whole time. It's the Tower. It's a tarot card.
I've heard a lot about that.
And the tarot card, the Tower, is like nothing but chaos.
Yeah.
Everyone feels like the Tower is very applicable for 2020 and whatever else. Mine specifically has this
I like the eye. It's very beautiful.
Yeah, mine specifically has like an Ezekielian angel. Like an angel from the old Bible.
Yeah, the scary ones.
Yeah.
Be not afraid. It's like, hey, motherfucker, I'm kind of scared.
Yeah, so I wanted
eyes and wings.
So I wanted to do the Tower as a tarot card, but I wanted to bring some weird Bible shit into it because I was raised in a cult. And
Well, tell us about that.
I don't really want to.
You don't have to either.
I'm not gonna drop it. I'm not gonna drop the name of the cult or whatever. But I was raised religiously abusive, generally.
Well, that is most cults,
Right.
And
of course.
as I count every religion as also just kind of a big cult, that's most cults.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I've been kind of enjoying reclaiming my religious identity, even though I left my my cult probably 12, 13 years ago. I was still a child. I had decided that it was better to move out of my very wealthy parents' house and live in my car than it was to continue to be subjected to religious abuse.
Well, and I mean,
And
the one circumstances are like, when abuse in general, religious or otherwise, come into play. It's just kind of like, you lived in your car? It's like, yo, what I came from was really fucking... I also don't know how old you are, so I don't have any beat on how old you were in the, that story.
Right.
You look young, so I assume that you were at a pretty tender age when you had to make a car
I was on my own, I think, at 16, and I am, what am I, 29?
You're 28.
I'm 28. I'm 28 now.
You're the youngest person at the table by far.
But yeah, no. So like, I was in like a weird cult situation, and then just like, now I'm finally starting to reclaim some of those the weirdest, most like goth religious symbols.
Yeah.
I'm starting to like tattoo on my body as a way to kind of like, not only cope but reclaim that space, I guess. If that makes sense.
Right.
No, I've got some religious iconography on me. I mean, it's a little bit more.
Can we talk about that?
I have. So, I wasn't raised in a weird thing, but I mean, I grew up during the whole satanic panic thing.
Yeah.
So like.
Oh, so you have a 666, and.
And a lot of the things on me are just kind of like.
Pseudo-religious.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Like, all religion, like to go something is either religious or pseudo-religious is interesting because all of it is made up.
Right.
Religion's a very Willy Wonka type of thing where it's kind of like it's like, oh well, this is our thing. It's like you made that up, but it's just the exact generational thing that I'm from, and I will say that like I did not come from a religiously oppressive. I want to know.
I did not come. Was that what you were
exactly.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I did not come.
Well, then I guess I may have just lied. But I didn't come from like a religious family thing. But I grew up in a time where it was very like societally like it wasn't even just like even if your family was cool, which mine definitely was. They sent me that ice bucket. But
so imagine that, which you're still already trying to kind of like fuck with religion.
Yeah.
You're already getting 666 and you're already getting those type of tattoos. But then imagine that religion was specifically abusive to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm coming from, where it's like, now I want to get really nasty religious tattoos.
And you know what? I want you to. I actually wish off camera, I assume is that when we're not doing this, can you tell me what it was?
We can talk.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm just kind of curious because I don't want to out any...
I'm not going to call it out on camera.
No. I don't want to call it anything that specifically, like, but just curiously, like, there's only so many things it could be.
Cult.
Yeah, so like...
It's a very well-known cult.
Yeah. And
is it Christianity?
Yeah, is it that? Well, that's my...
oh, wait! Oh, my gosh! You're
Bill,
right!
how the fuck did you guess? Well, I've been on a few other people's podcasts in the last couple of months, and when, like, weird... people kind of do that thing where they're like, oh, I want to, like... stir the pot a little bit and whatever, but like one of my favorite jokes I've made in the face of that is like when they're like, well, people are blah, blah, blah. I'm like, how many Catholic churches did the guy that believed in the Pizzagate conspiracy walk past before he shot up that pizza place? He's like, because it's there's pedophiles, and I'm like, we gotta stop this system of pedophilia. It's like, how many Catholic churches did you walk by on your way to that place,
or drive
like,
by?
Did you ignore or drive by? That's the joke. It's like like okay, so like it's where like people are like, there's chemicals in the water that are gonna make you vote liberal, and it's like you do realize though that like civil forfeiture is a thing, and there's all these like real awful nasty things in the world that could affect you, and it's because they're propagandized by a certain source.
But you're not a Republican because there's fluoride in the water.
You're
a Republican because you're terrible.
Because education is not prioritized on this planet, and that's a reason we're never going to get to join the Federation of Planets. And it's
true.
But that's the thing. It's just like people are like, hey, this is really fucked up. Did you hear about this? It's like a cult. And like, do you know that like there's like a real thing that definitely does that? And it's like, no, my grandma's Catholic. That's not a thing. But no, there's pedophiles and we gotta kill them. I'm like, there's pedophiles around the corner right there.
Right.
Right there.
The church
where's your proof? There's tons of it
there.
right here. Like, well, but the Lord, no, it's the pizza place in Hillary Clinton. It's like, okay, fine. And then you just give up and throw your hands in the air.
We may have offended, but we moved them to somewhere else.
Yeah, but that's the point of the whole what is and is not a cult. It all is.
Yeah.
And that it's like,
what it's based on is if something is a cult, it makes people abandon natural humanity for acceptance.
so all religion.
It means them like treat people terribly, and the smaller the situation is, the more culty it is, because the more they make them abandon.
I guess it is true that if something is so big that it runs society, you're not running counter to society because you're in charge now. You're like, you go from being the Joker to the talk show host. But like, it's your show now. It's like, you're the man. Like that, yes. That makes an interesting, what have we here?
But even...
just notes.
But,
okay. I thought we were looking something up.
But
no, I mean, I would like him to see it too. It's not, it's not that.
But even...
wait, am I...
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Yeah. So we definitely an hour and a half is. We've gone through a lot of wild shit. And I want to. Okay, so I do want to thank you guys. Oh wait, can we watch one clip real quick? Speaking about cults, this works out perfectly and in a lighthearted way. And I set up this clip to test it out, but I figure this is a fun time.
Is it the new TikTok cult or is it the other one?
It's a TikTok thing.
Okay.
But let's just have a look. I think you're going to enjoy it.
All aboard the Trump train! Woo! Next stop, Satan's butthole!
Her TikToks are great. But yeah, that's just what I just wanted to test that out because we're talking about the all aboard the Trump train. Welcome to Satan's butthole is a good way to end this podcast.
I would say so.
So this has been B, Sam, myself, and Bill, and we'll be having more guests in the future, and the camera will look a little less shitty as we've been trying in the future. Yeah. And now,
before we end the podcast, I would just like, sorry, this has been weighing heavily on my mind.
Go ahead.
Because I am in a bundle of anxiety. So I made a comment earlier about how murder would be more fun if death stopped, and that was a reference to Marvel Comics.
Then it would be a fetish.
Right. So there was a time where death stopped being a thing in the Marvel Comics because death, as the entity that she is, stopped being people stopped dying.
Like checked out.
Yeah.
And like death stopped. It was a reference to that, and I haven't killed anyone. I don't think it's fun.
Bill, you killed that corned beef earlier, though.
Yeah, super good.
You did kill it for dinner.
I just think it's
just for the record, we're pretty sure Bill has killed at least 0 people.
Yeah, but at least some corned beef.
I have far too much anxiety.
So check out Ghosteater, and this was the Rum Dumpster podcast, and I'm going to experiment with hitting the outro and having the podcast stop. Good night, and go fuck yourselves.